Hello and welcome back to another caffeinated hi-fi review. My name is Matt, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the now discontinued drop Pandas. But before I get started, I'd like to give a really big shout out to my friend Zachary because he actually lent me these headphones for review. Let's check them out. So why am I reviewing a discontinued pair of headphones? To be perfectly blunt, I just need content. But honestly, I think these are really interesting headphones and I think there's a lot to learn from them. So these are a planar, closed back, Bluetooth that's THX amplified, but can also work as a passive pair of headphones that you can plug into an external amplifier. You can also plug them in via USB to have a digital connection to your computer that will act as its own sound card. These are just a lot of things in one headphone, and that puts them squarely in the niche audiophile enthusiast category, and these were definitely marketed to audiophiles. Unfortunately, these had a lot of QC issues. If you look these up on eBay, you'll find a lot of them that say no Bluetooth, and the reason for that is because the Bluetooth module in these frequently died. This was Drop's first attempt at making a headphone ever, and they threw the kitchen sink at it. I imagine what happened is replacing and repairing headphones like these probably got really expensive, and making headphones isn't Drop's bread and butter anyways. They're great headphones, they were probably just too expensive to maintain, and they probably weren't lucrative enough for them to pursue further revisions. Now, my friend sent these to me via USPS, and all he did was put them into the carrying case, into the box, put one slightly wrinkled piece of paper on top of them, and mailed them to me like that. So when the box arrived to me, it arrived slightly crushed. I cut the box open and I cringed as I unzipped that case, and to my utter dismay, they were completely undamaged. The yolks on these are a nice sturdy metal. The cups are a good high quality plastic. When you just feel these, they feel really well built, and obviously they are well built because they survived USPS with pretty much no padding. I think these are a great looking pair of headphones, and I absolutely love how understated they are. They're a very sleek, unassuming pair of headphones, and there's really not much to talk about. And a lot of weird niche audiophile specific headphones look really stupid, and I mean very stupid. These are made almost exclusively for wearing out in public, and no one will bat an eye at you for wearing these out in public. And while they may be plain, they still have character. I really love the way that the yoke is rounded and only attaches on one side. It's just a nice subtle touch that gives them just the right amount of interest. The ergonomics of these are great as well. The control knob on the back is easy to find and it's intuitive to use. And probably the best design decision they could have possibly made is using a 3.5mm jack for the passive mode. I hate when headphones use weird audio connectors just to make it interesting, or when they use standard audio connectors with locking mechanisms. I mean, just give me a 3.5mm. And lastly, the battery life on these is insane. I pulled them out of the box and I used them for about 3 days before I charged them, and they were about 60% charged whenever they were sent to me. These are also, I think, 2 years old now. So, I mean, the battery life on these is really good, and that's thanks in part to the THX amplification because it's so efficient. But for a Bluetooth headphone that you're going to be taking out and about, great battery life is a huge feature, and these do that really well. Now, when it comes to comfort, I honestly find these very comfortable, and I know there are a lot of people that don't agree with that. I've heard many people find the clamp on these to be too tight, and I don't have an issue with that at all, and I have a big head. I asked my friend that lent these to me, he said he feels the clamp is a little too tight. I know a lot of people online say that the clamp is too tight. I really don't have an issue with it. The pads are not super deep either, but they are really nice and soft. I think they're really comfortable. I also find the headband comfortable, and I've heard other people complain about that as well. I mean, there's not a whole lot of padding there, but even when wearing a hat or just wearing them normally, I don't find them uncomfortable, and I don't mind wearing them at all. Now, I usually talk about whether or not a headphone needs a dedicated amp. These have their own built-in DAC and amplifier, so you're pretty much good to go there. Like I said earlier, they have THX amplification for the Bluetooth. They have a good high-quality DAC in them as well. And one of the great features of this headphone is you can plug it directly into your computer via USB, and Windows will detect it as a sound card. And what that does is give you a slightly better option for signal quality than Bluetooth. Also, if you're going to use these for gaming and you don't have a desktop DAC amp, you can plug these in directly via USB and have low latency, high quality sound. And I did say you can plug these into an external amp. For reference, I plugged these into my Topping L50. Honestly, the quality didn't improve much. THX amplification is known for being a little bit dry, and I did find that it kind of warmed up a little bit. There was a little bit higher increase in sound quality, but really nothing to write home about. So I don't think there's really any benefit out of having a desktop DAC amp for these if you're using them at a desk. The only reason I would suggest using a desktop DAC or amplifier is if you have a PC case like mine that's made almost entirely out of metal and basically acts as a Faraday cage. It's really hard to get a Bluetooth signal to connect, so I basically can't use Bluetooth on these headphones. However, there are some desktop DACs that have built-in Bluetooth, so if you have that, that might interest you, but that is just something to keep in mind. Now, the tuning of these is where things start to get confusing, and to get straight to the point, I don't really like how these sound. In the comfort section of this video, I didn't talk about how they feel for long listening sessions, and that's honestly because I didn't really listen to them for more than like 30 to 45 minutes because I just didn't really care to listen to them a whole lot. These are by far the most exotic and expensive thing that I have access to listen to right now, and I just never found myself reaching for them. I just happened to get a batch of IAMs that I planned on reviewing in a little while after I received these, and honestly I was more interested to listen to those because I just didn't really care for the sound of these. So these are technically a warm tuned headphone. The mids and bass are slightly elevated, and I mean slightly. Honestly, to my ears, when I first listened to them, I thought they sounded almost painfully neutral. They're technically not neutral, but to me, that's just how they sounded. So I decided to ask my buddy what he thought of how they sounded. Now, he's not a dedicated audiophile. He cares about high quality sound, but he's not someone that really goes down the rabbit hole. So I was really curious what he thought. I started by asking what music he usually listens to, and he said almost exclusively rock. And I then followed up by asking if he found them enjoyable, to which he replied, I do kind of feel like they're missing something. Now, what they're missing, and this is a technical term, is balls. They have none to be found. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. What these are is a calm, sophisticated, prim, and proper headphone. What these do extremely well is classical music. Now, I actually really love classical music, and I was happy to find that they do well in this category. I was listening to Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, and I was nearly brought to tears, and I'm not kidding there. I also listened to some Hilary Hahn, Ray Chen, Yo-Yo Ma. Classical really brings out the benefit of planar with these. And these are a very resolving headphone. I don't want to say detailed because that typically refers to, higher frequencies and, hearing high-pitched clicks. What these do is they let you hear the texture of the bow sliding across the strings. It's a very tangible, natural sound when it comes to acoustic instruments. But really, the main problem here is that, in my opinion, for everything outside of classical music, everything sounded okay. These are a fantastic sounding headphone, and I really mean that. They're just not well rounded at all. They sound extremely high quality, they're just not exciting. And like my friend said, they just kind of sound like they're missing something. When listening to EDM, the low end, it exists. It's not like it's not there, but that's it. It just exists. If you listen to something really bass heavy like Hypnocurrency by Deadmau5, you can kind of get like a little bit of enjoyable bass out of it. But, most of the time it really just kind of falls short. Now, I kind of get what they were going for. A lot of audiophiles will tell you that flat equals better. And that's very generally true. But, that's not a rule, that's just a generalization. And I think what Drop was trying to do was go for a sound signature that niche audiophiles would want. But to me, the end result was just kind of boring. So in conclusion, I am actually really sad that Drop decided not to pursue these further. The fact that this is their first attempt at making a headphone, period, and they got that close to knocking it out of the park, that is really impressive. I think with one or two more iterations, they could have had something really special. But again, it was probably just too expensive to maintain and replace, and they probably didn't make enough profit off of them to justify further revisions. They are an extremely interesting pair of headphones, and they do sound really good. And they check a lot of audiophile boxes. Planar and closed back is already unique and interesting. Then going for Bluetooth and THX amplified is just insane. Plus the fact that it has the passive mode, or you can plug it in via USB. I mean, these are a very feature-rich pair of headphones, and they are really cool. It's just that sound signature wasn't quite there for me, and the Bluetooth dongle going out of them, it's really unfortunate. And again, I find them super comfortable. I know a lot of people have problems with it, but I really like the way that these feel. And then the battery life on them is just amazing. And for a Bluetooth portable set of headphones, that's a big deal, and these do that really well. But at the end of the day, the sound signature isn't something I really enjoyed. Like I said, they are by far the most expensive and exotic thing that I have access to right now, and I just never found myself reaching for them. They sound very high quality. The tuning just isn't for me. So that's going to wrap it up for me here. Have you had these headphones in the past, or do you currently own these headphones? If so, let me know what you think of them down in the comments. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. It does really help me out a lot. If you want to hang out with me on Discord or Telegram, links to join those are down in the description. Also, I did start a Patreon, so if you like my reviews and would like to help support this project, I would really appreciate it if you'd help support me over there. Also, if you have a pair of headphones that you would be willing to let me borrow and review, hit me up on Discord and Telegram. We can work out the details there. Also, if you want to check me out on social media, I'm on Twitter and Instagram as well. And with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.